Good evening, guys. In the last session, we understood how to develop our application by using data JPA and how to perform database operations by using data JPA methods. We have seen save method. Save method is used for inserting the record as well as updating the record. Whenever we are passing entity object with the primary key, with that primary key, if the record is already available, then it will update the record. If the record is not available with the given primary key, then it will insert the record. So to save a single record, then we will go for save. If you want to save a list of records at a time, then we can go for save all. This is save and save all methods we can call as upsert methods. They are used for inserting plus updating. Next one, find by ID. This method is used to retrieve the record based on the given primary key. If you want to retrieve the record based on given list of primary keys, then we can go for find all by ID. Okay, find all method. To retrieve all the records from the database table, then we can go for find all method. I want to retrieve all the records available in the table, then we can go for find all. If you want to find the count, total how many records available in the table, then we can use this count method. Next one, exist by ID. If you want to check the presence of the record in the table based on the primary key, then we can go for exist by ID. If you want to delete a record based on given primary key, then we can use delete by ID. If you want to delete list of records based on the given primary keys list, then we can go for delete all by ID. If you want to delete all the records from the table at a time, then we can go for delete all method. So these are the methods that we have seen in the repository. So these methods we no need to implement, guys. JPA provided interface for us. We are extending the properties from JPA repository and we are calling the methods by using our repository interface. Here we are having a student repository extending the properties from CRUD repository. When our repository extending the properties from CRUD repository, as part of application startup, our repository will be scanned, and for our repository, implementation class will be created in the runtime. Now, by using our repository interface, we can access all the methods of the CRUD repository. In the last session, we have done that part. All right. Today, we are going to talk about how to work with find by methods in the data JPA. Find by methods. Find by methods in data JPA. JPA already provided several predefined methods for us, like save method, save all method, find by ID, count method, exist method, delete by ID, delete all by ID, delete all. Like that, there are several methods are available in data JPA. Now, let's go for our student repository. Student repository pointing to student entity. Student entity is pointing to student details table. Okay, let me connect with my MySQL database. Let me check what are the records available in the table. So now I want to perform operations on the table based on the data. I want to retrieve the records. So our database name is SBMS27. So let me connect to that database and let me check our students details table. So table is mapped to entity class. Java class is mapped to database table here by using @entity annotation. Now use the database. So my database name is SBMS27. This is the database name. In the database, our table is available. Select star from student details. Now you can see there are 2 records available. Now I want to insert multiple records at a time. So in order to insert multiple records at a time, we have save all method. I need to create multiple student objects. So student S1 is equal to new student. Okay. Similarly, student S2 is equal to new student. S1, S2, S3. Student S3 is equal to new student. Student S4 is equal to new student. Like this, I want to create multiple student entity objects and I want to insert all these students at a time in the table. Currently, my student class is having setters and getters. Now I want to generate zero param constructor and parameterized constructor also to initialize the values easily. So I'm going to write a zero param constructor in my entity class, and I will be writing parameterized constructor also. Zero param constructor and parameterized constructor also I'm going to write it. Generate constructor using fields, select all, click on generate. All right, so that I can initialize my class variables easily. Student ID, name, rank, gender. Okay, student ID. Already with IDs are available, 101, 102 available. I will start with 103. 103 some Orlin, and rank some 90, and gender I will make it as male. All right, now so here it is giving error long rank. Rank is a long value. L I'm going to specify. Okay, so similar to this, I need to set the values for remaining objects also. 104 I am giving 105 and 106. So here I am giving the name as some Kathy. So rank is some 100 and female. Okay, female record I am giving. Now here I'm giving it as butler. Okay, so the rank is some 70 and he is male record. And here I'm giving this as Smita, and I'm giving the rank as some 60 and it is female record. So now if you see, I'm taking 4 records. I want to insert all the 4 records into database table at a time. So do you have any method? Do we have any method to insert all the records at a time in the JPA? Do I need to insert the records one by one, or do I have any method to insert all the records at a time? I have save all method to insert at a time. So student repo dot save all. Save all is expecting list of entities. Okay, I have list of entities. I need to pass these entities as a iterable object, a collection. Now what I will do is I'm using arrays dot as list. Convert this S1, S2, S3, S4 object to one collection. List students. I'm passing this students list as a parameter for save all method. I have 4 objects. 4 objects I want to represent as a list. For that I'm going for arrays dot as list. Students, list of student objects I'm getting. All the students I'm inserting into table at a time. Now let's observe the console. Run as Java Spring Boot application. Run as Spring Boot application. All right. See that my application is getting started. As we are using JPA, driver loading, connection creation, query execution, connection closing, everything will be taken care by JPA. We just need to call the method by passing entities. That's it. Now you see 4 insert queries are executed. Now go to the table. Now see all the 4 records are inserted into table or not. Yes, 4 records are inserted into table. Now I have total 6 records in the table. Earlier 2 records available. Now I have inserted 4 records in the table. If I want to retrieve a record based on the primary key, now we know the method. If I want to retrieve the record based on the primary key, we know the method. Find by ID method is available. If we want to retrieve the record based on the ID. Okay guys, suppose for example, I want to retrieve the records based on the gender. I want to retrieve the records based on the gender. I want to retrieve only male records, or I want to retrieve only female records. Do we have any method in the repository to retrieve the record based on the gender? Student repository dot, we have find by ID, we have find all method, we have find by ID, we have find all by ID. That means you have the option to retrieve all the records from the table. You have the option to retrieve the record based on the primary key. You have the option to retrieve the record based on multiple primary keys. Okay guys, but do we have the option to record? Do we have the option to retrieve the record based on gender column? Student gender is available. I want to retrieve the records based on the gender. Do we have a method for that, or we don't have a method for that? There is no method for that in order to retrieve the records based on the gender. That's where in the JPA, we have the option to go for find by methods. Find by methods in the data JPA. Find by methods are used to retrieve the data based on non-primary key columns also. By using find by methods, we can retrieve the data. Based on non-primary key columns also. Whatever the non-primary key columns are available, right? By using non-primary key columns also. If you have primary key, then you have find by ID. But my requirement is I want to retrieve the data based on non-primary key columns. By using find by methods, we can retrieve the data based on non-primary key columns also. When we write find by method, based on the method name, JPA will prepare a query and will execute that query. When we write find by method, JPA will construct a query based on the method name. JPA will construct query based on method name. If you write the method, you no need to implement that method. You just write the abstract method with the syntax. Based on your method name, JPA will prepare the query. Method names are very important for this scenario. Method naming convention is very important. Method naming convention is very important when we are working with a find by method. Method naming convention is very important for find by methods. Here I am giving triplex. Sir, what is the meaning of this triplex? This triplex represents your entity class variable name. Based on which column you want to retrieve the data, that column mapped to which variable, that column variable name you need to write here. For example, I want to retrieve the record based on gender. Gender is a primary key or gender is a non-primary key. Gender is a non-primary key. If you go to student entity, ID is mapped to primary key. Gender is a normal column. So student gender is mapped to gender variable. Now, when I want to retrieve the records based on the gender, so based on one gender, multiple records may available. So what I will do is public list of student. Now find by. So this is a syntax, guys. I'm writing find by. So which column? I want to retrieve the data based on the student gender. Student gender is a column that is mapped to gender variable. So here I'm going to write find by gender string gender. That's it. So this is my find by method. Import the list object. List is an interface from util package I have imported. That's it. Here I have written one find by method. So now this is a concrete method or this is an abstract method, guys? Is this a concrete method or is it an abstract method? Abstract method. So there is no implementation for that. So now can I execute this method? Can I call this method by using my repository? Here I have a repository object. By using this repository, student repo dot find by gender. I'm passing the gender value as a male. That method I have created, it is giving me male students. It is giving me male students. Now let me print the male students. Male students dot for each system dot out colon println. Find by gender. Find by gender method I am writing here. This method repository missing type list. Find by gender. So string gender it is taking as a input. String gender it is taking as a input. And that method is returning list of students. Am I writing the implementation for the method? Am I writing only abstract method? Guys, am I writing implementation for the method? Am I writing only abstract method? I'm writing only abstract method. Now let me run this program and see the result. Run as Spring Boot application. Run as a Spring Boot application. Right click and run as Spring Boot application. Let us see the result. Are we able to retrieve the records or not? 103, 105, records are coming as the mail records. Now go to database. Go to database and check the result. Select star from student details. Now, so how many mail records are available? 103 is a mail record. 105 is a mail record. So 2 male records available and 3 female records are available. 1 record does not have a gender. Are we able to retrieve only male records from the table, even though it is a non-primary key? Yes or no? That is the beauty of the find by method. So whenever you write a find by method, based on your method name, JPA will construct the query. So as I'm writing find by gender, internally JPA will understand that user is trying to retrieve the record based on the gender column. So it will add the gender column in the where clause. It will pass the input, which I am giving as a method parameter, and it will execute that query. Are you guys getting my point? What is find by method? Find by method are used to retrieve the record based on non-primary key columns also. By using find by methods, we can retrieve the data based on non-primary key columns also. When we write the find by method, JPA will construct query based on method name. Method naming convention is very important for find by methods. For example, here student ranks are available. I want to identify the students whose rank is above 100. I want to identify the students whose rank is above 100. Are you guys getting my point? Now, I want to identify the students whose rank is above 100. So above 100, multiple students can be available. All right, let me do that. Public list of student find by, what is the variable name for that? Rank is the variable name I have given, which is mapped to a column called student rank. So rank is the variable name. So now I will need to give find by rank. Find by rank. Do you want to find a record based on the given rank, or I want to find the students based on the given rank above values? Above 100. Above 100. Find by rank. Here I am going to write greater than or equal integer rank value. Okay. What is my find by method? Find by rank greater than equal given value. So now when I write this method, internally JPA will prepare a query like this. Select star from student details where student rank, student underscore rank greater than or equal to whatever the value I am giving, it will consider. But am I writing this query? JPA will generate this query based on my method name. Do I need to write the query? JPA will prepare the query based on my method name. I'm telling find by rank greater than equal integer rank. So see here, your method name playing very important role. Whenever you write the method, based on the method, it will prepare a query like this. Find by rank greater than equal integer of rank. Now let me go to application class. Let me go to application class. Let me comment these 2 lines of code. Now I want to call this method student repository dot find by rank greater than or equal to 100. It will give me list of students. Now how to print those students? Students dot for each. Okay, I'm giving students dot for each. Now check in the database. Above 100, greater than or equal to 100, 3 records are available. 101, 102, 104. Raja, Rani, Kathy. These records are matching with my condition. Okay, let's execute this and check it. Really, is it performing that operation or not? Run as Spring Boot application. Now, check the console. It's executing that. It failed, guys. Illegal argument. Parameter value 100 did not match expected value. It is expecting a long value. Rank is a long value. Okay. Application.java. Find by greater than or equal to integer long type I need to expect. And the data type is a long value. I'm passing this as a long value. Run as boot application. See the console now. Yes. Guys, now, are we able to retrieve the records of the students who are having rank greater than or equal to 100? 101, 102, 104. Check the query. Select star from students whose student rank greater than or equal to given value. Am I writing the query? Am I generating the query? Am I writing the query? Am I generating the query? I am generating the query. I'm generating the query. This query will be generated because of my method name. Find by greater than. Similarly, can we retrieve the records which are having rank less than given value? Can we retrieve the records which are having rank less than given value? Now, can you write the method for that? Can you write the method for that? I want to retrieve the students who are having the rank less than. Okay, guys. Fine. Simple example, simple thing, right? We are going to do this like this. I want to generate a query like this. Select a star from student. Select a star from student details where student rank less than or equal to given value. So what is the find by method for that? Public list of student find by based on which column you want to retrieve the data, based on the rank column, student rank column. Student rank is mapped to which variable? Rank variable. Find by rank less than control space. You will give the option. Do you want only less than or you want less than equal? Less than equal long rank. Like this you can write the method. Like this you can write the method. Okay. So your method name is very important. Your method name is playing the important role. Based on the name of the method, query will be generated. Based on the name of the method, query will be generated. Are you guys able to follow me? Are you guys able to follow me? Now, I want to retrieve male records who are having rank greater than or equal to 100. You understand my requirement? I want to retrieve only male records who are having rank greater than or equal to given value. Generally, for that, can you write a normal SQL query? Male students who are having rank greater than or equal to 100. Can you write a normal SQL query? For this, can you write the normal SQL query? Come on, guys. Male students who are having rank greater than or equal to 100. Male students who are having rank greater than or equal to 100. Normal SQL query. Normal SQL query. Okay. So can we write a normal SQL query like this? Select a star from student details. Select a star from student details where student gender is equal to given value and student rank greater than or equal to 100. That is a rank value. So is this equal SQL query or not? Male students who are having rank greater than or equal to 100. Select star from student table where gender equal to given value and rank is equal to given value. How can we achieve this by using find by methods? How can we achieve this by using find by methods? This method will get the data only based on the gender. This method will get the data which are based on rank, based on the rank given value. Now I want to combine this operation. I want to male records who are having the rank greater than or equal to given rank. How can we do that? For this, we can go for public list of student find by gender and rank greater than or equal to given value. First one is string gender, and second one is long rank. Writing the method is a art here. If you write the method correctly, JPA will construct the query correctly. If you write the method correctly, JPA will construct the query correctly. You got my point? Find by gender and rank greater than or equal given value. Now check this. So I'm commenting this line. Now let me go here. Student repository dot find by gender and rank greater than. Gender I'm giving as a male, rank I'm giving as 100L. Okay, it is going to return list of students. The students I'm going to print on the console by using method reference. Students dot for each. This is a method reference. So my method name is very clear. Find by gender and rank greater than or equal given value. So whatever the gender I pass and whatever the rank I pass, based on this, it has to construct the query like this and it has to retrieve. That means I'm joining two conditions here based on the gender plus rank. This is just a abstract method, guys. I'm not writing any logic. JPA will generate the logic for this method. Based on my method name, it will construct the query and it will execute. So whenever we are writing the methods, we should be very careful. Find by, it is a fixed keyword. After that, variable name of your entity. Find by gender. Okay. Now let's execute. Find by gender and rank greater than or equal given value. Right click, run as Spring Boot application. Right click, run as Spring Boot application. Genders having the rank greater than or equal to 100. Males. First of all, let me filter the records by using male. How many male records are available? 2 male records are available. Do they have rank greater than or equal to 100? Do they have the rank greater than or equal to 100? Do we have any data in the table for that condition? No, that's why we are not getting any data. Let me give gender as a female. Female students who are having the rank greater than or equal to 100, there are 2 female records available, Rani and Kathy. So if I change the gender to female, then I should get the Rani and Kathy records as output. Instead of male, I'm going for female. Right click, run as boot application. Right click, run as boot application. Now see the result. Rani and Kathy should come as output. Wow. Are we able to retrieve Rani record as well as Kathy record? As per our given condition, gender should be female and rank should be greater than or equal to 100. 2 records matched with our criteria and those 2 records we are able to retrieve. Do you understand the power of find by methods in the JPA? Do we understand the power of find by methods in the JPA? Based on our method name, queries are constructing. Suppose, for example, instead of writing the find by gender like this, suppose if I write a public list of student find by student gender. Find by student gender. Can I write like this? Find by student gender. Is it accepting this method? This method is valid. This method syntax is valid. Or this method syntax is not valid. I'm writing one method as find by gender. And I'm writing another method as find by student gender. Why first method is valid? Why second method is not valid? Why first method is valid? Why second method is not valid? What is the reason behind that? Can you tell me, guys? What is the reason behind that? Can you guys tell me? Please interact. Please respond to my questions. Please interact and respond to my questions. Why first method is valid? Why second method is invalid? Any reason? Any reason? When you are using find by methods, the entity class variable names will play the important role. When we use find by methods, entity classes are going to play very important role. Entity class variables are going to play very important role. It is checking find by student gender. Do we have any variable in the entity class with this name? No. That's why this JPA don't know with which column we have to retrieve the data. Whenever I am writing find by student gender, JPA don't know which column it has to use in the where class. When I use find by gender, so find by is a fixed keyword, gender is a variable name in the entity, then it will check gender variable mapped with which column, it mapped with student gender. So it understood that find by student gender, find by gender. Okay, it is going to prepare query like this internally. Select star from student details where student gender is equal to given gender value. Whatever the value we are giving as a method parameter, it will take this value, it will use in the query and it will execute that query. Here gender is a variable. Gender variable is mapped to student gender column. It will use student gender column in the where class to execute the query. So JPA is very intelligent here. Based on our method name and entity class variable names, it is constructing the queries to retrieve the data. Are you guys clear with my point? Are you guys clear with my point? Here, when I give find by student gender, it is checking with this student gender, is there any variable available in the entity? With the student gender name, there is no variable in the entity. So JPA not accepting this method. Syntactically, this method is not correct. That's why it is failing at the compilation time only. So see the error, invalid derived query, no property student gender found for the type student. Boss, with this name, there is no variable available in the student class. I can't use this method. This is a invalid method. Now when I use find by rank, so rank is a variable. See that in the entity class, rank variable is available. For that rank, I have given greater than or equal, less than equal. Suppose if I want to retrieve the data by using AND operator, two conditions I want to check. If both conditions are satisfied, then only I want to retrieve the data. For example, where student gender is equal to given value, student rank is greater than or equal to given value. Find by gender and rank greater than equal. So this is find by gender, then and rank greater than equal. So based on the two conditions, it is retrieving the data. Based on the two conditions, it is retrieving the data. Are you guys clear with my point? Are you guys clear with my point? How I am writing my query? Here, am I writing the query or based on the method name query is constructed? Am I writing the query based on the method name queries are constructed? Based on the method names, queries are constructed. If you write incorrect name for the method, that cannot be compiled. So method naming convention is very important when we are working with find by methods. Sir, can we join two tables here with the find by method? That's not possible. With the single table data, for single table, we can write the find by methods to retrieve the data. And sir, can we insert the data, update the data, delete the data? No. Find by methods are used only for retrieval operations. Find by methods are used only for the retrieval operations. Are you able to follow me? Are you able to follow me? So entity class variables are playing very important role when we go for find by methods. Entity class variables are playing very important role for the find by methods. This is my entity class. Here setters, getters will be available, or you can use the long walk. Setters and getters will be available. Here I will be using the long walk. Here my repository interface. Here my repository interface will be available. Okay, student repository. This method I am taking, guys, invalid method. So these all are the valid methods. These all are the valid find by methods. Based on these methods, JPA constructing the query and it is retrieving the record. Can I write insert update by using find by methods? Can I perform insert operation, update operation, delete operation by using find by methods? No. Find by methods are used only for retrievals. Find by methods are used only for retrievals. Note. Using find by methods, we can perform select operations only. That means retrieval. Retrieval operations only we can perform. Insert, update, delete operations cannot be performed. Insert, update, or delete operations we can't do using find by methods. In find by method syntax, we will use entity class variable names. In find by method syntax, we will use entity class variable names. Entity class variable names. Here, that is the reason I have given find by triplex. This triplex represents variable name of your entity. This triplex represents variable name of your entity. Okay, good. Are you guys able to understand? Are you guys able to understand how to retrieve the data by using non-primary keys in the JPA repository? Suppose if you want to retrieve the record based on the primary key, then you can go for find by ID. Find by ID. ID means primary key. If you want to retrieve the record based on the primary key, then you have find by ID. Okay. Suppose I want to retrieve the data based on the non-primary key, then find by that variable. Suppose, for example, now I want to retrieve the records of the students whose gender is null. Whose gender is null. Okay. Now let us see here. What is the method we are going to write for that? Public list student find by gender control space. Find by gender is null. Direct method is available. Syntax. Find by gender is null. Find by gender is null. So what is the meaning of this query? It will give you select star from student details where student gender is null, like this. So when I call this method, internally it will prepare a query like this. Internally it will prepare a query like this. For example, public list of student, I'm writing find by what is the name of the student column. So name is available. What is the variable name? Name is available. Find by name. Find by name containing, contains, ending with, ends with, equals, exists, in, is containing, is ending with, is in, is like, is not in, is not like, is not null, is starting with like, not in, not like, not null, null, or starting with, starts with. There are so many conditions we can add it. So how to know all the possible options? You write find by name. Now, as name is a string value, it is giving all these possible options. Suppose, for example, if I go for find by rank, greater than, it is a number, long value, greater than or equal to, in, is before, is greater than. I want to retrieve all the records who are before the given value. Is before, is greater than or equal to, is in, is less than, is not in, is null, less than. There are several options. Not in, not null, null, or find by rank, or find by gender. Like this, we can have several options. So you need to write the methods correctly. Whenever you are writing a find by method, you need to give the entity class variable names in the method. Based on your method name, JPA will construct a query. So method syntax should be proper. When your method syntax is proper, based on that method name, JPA will construct the query and it will execute that query. You don't need to implement the methods also. See the beauty. You are just writing an abstract method in your interface. Are we implementing that interface or we are not implementing that interface in our project? Am I implementing my interface or JPA will implement my interface? Guys, Am I implementing my interface or JPA is implementing my interface? JPA is implementing my interface. Suppose if I want to do all these operations in the JDBC, how much code we need to write, guys? If I want to do all these operations in the JDBC, how much code we need to write for this? Can you imagine that? How many lines of code is required to do these operations in the JDBC or to do these operations in the Hibernate? We need to write our own query and we need to execute that query. We need to write our own query and we need to execute that query. Are you guys getting my point? Can we say JPA is simplifying our life? Can I say JPA is simplifying our life? Yes or no? Even if you go for Hibernate, do you have this facility? If you go for Hibernate, do you have this facility in the Hibernate? In the Hibernate, you have a method to save the record, update the record, delete the record. But do we have this facility? No, we don't have. That is the power of JPA. That is the power of JPA. Okay. So with this, we understood what is find by method. With this, we understood what is find by methods in the JPA. So now just quickly revise. By using find by methods, we can retrieve the data based on non-primary key columns also. JPA provided several methods. Along with that, I want to extend my functionality. I want to do more operations on the data based on my requirement. For that, ready-made methods are not available in the JPA. So for that, we are going to write the find by methods. So by using find by methods, we can retrieve the data based on non-primary key columns. When we write find by method, JPA will construct query based on the method name. Method naming convention is very important for find by methods. Using find by methods, we can perform select operations only, insert or update or delete operations. We can't do by using find by. We can do only retrieval. In find by methods, syntax is important. For that method name, we are going to write entity class variable names. So this is my entity class. Like this, I'm writing several methods in my repository. I'm writing methods by using repository. These all are find by methods. So which method, which query will be generated? I have given the method name and I have given the query also. When you call this method, further it will generate this query. When you call this method, further it will generate this query. Like this, we can do find by operations. Remember, it is used only for retrieval. And next one, you may have a question. Ashok, find by methods are okay. That is fine. I can write the method, I will retrieve the data. But I want to execute my own query, or I want to execute a join query. I want to write my own query and I want to execute. Yes, JPA will support for custom queries also. You can execute your own query also by using JPA. Data JPA provided several predefined methods for you. As we discussed already, save method, save all method, find by ID, find all by ID, find all, right? Count method, exist method, delete method, delete by ID, delete all, like the delete all by ID. There are several methods available. I'm not satisfied with those methods. Then you have find by methods. If you want to retrieve the data based on some conditions, based on the non-primary key columns, then you can go for these find by methods. And for example, I want to execute my own query. I want to join two tables and I want to retrieve the data. Is there any option available? Can we execute custom queries? Can we execute custom queries by using JPA? Yes, custom queries execution also we can execute by using JPA. So let us see how to work with the custom queries in the data JPA. All right. Custom queries. Custom queries. How to execute custom queries in the data JPA? In data JPA, we can execute custom queries also. We can execute custom queries also in JPA. To execute custom queries in the JPA, we will use @ query annotation. To execute custom queries, we will use @query annotation. Okay, guys. To execute custom queries, we will use @query annotation. JPA will support for executing both HQL queries and native SQL queries. JPA will support @query will support for executing both HQL queries plus HQL queries and native SQL queries also. HQL queries plus native SQL queries also. HQL queries nothing but database independent queries. SQL queries nothing but database dependent queries. HQL database independent queries. This is Hibernate query language. Hibernate query language. These are called as database independent queries. Okay. SQL queries are nothing but structured language queries. Structured query language. These are structured query language. These are called as database dependent queries. These queries are called as database dependent queries. Are you guys clear with my point? Are you guys clear with my point? We can execute custom queries also in the JPA. To execute custom queries, we will use @query annotation. @query will support for executing both the HQL queries and native SQL queries also. HQL stands for Hibernate query language. HQL stands for structured query language. In HQL query, we will use entity class and variables for constructing the query. So in HQL, we will use entity class name plus entity class variables to construct the query or to write the query. Whereas when you go for SQL, in SQL query, we will use table name and column names. Table names and column names to write the query. So queries are two types here, guys. One is called HQL query. Second one is called SQL query. HQL queries are nothing but Hibernate queries. They are database independent. In HQL, we will use entity class name and entity class variables to write the query. Whereas in the SQL queries, we are going to write the table names and column names directly. HQL queries should be converted to SQL for execution. HQL queries are database independent because they cannot understand by the database. Sir, when the HQL queries are not understanding by the database, why we need to write them? Tomorrow, if you write the SQL queries in the project, if you change your project from Oracle database to MySQL database, then you need to change all the queries which are having some syntax differences. Data types difference will be available. PLSQL programming part will be different. Okay. SQL is specific to a database. So all the queries which are executing in the Oracle may not execute in the MySQL. All the queries which are executing in the MySQL may not execute in the Postgres. So that's why if you write the SQL queries, your queries are database dependent. If you write the SQL queries, those queries are database dependent queries. Suppose in my project, I'm writing all the queries as SQL queries. So tomorrow, I want to change my project from Oracle database to MySQL database. Then some queries may work, some queries may not work. So that's why what we need to do, we need to change all the queries in the project. So if I don't want to do the queries change, better to write the HQL query. Whenever you write the HQL query, if you change from one database to another database also, no problem. You no need to modify the HQL query. HQL queries will be converted to SQL queries by dialect class. Okay. In HQL, we will use entity class name and entity class variables to write the query. Right. HQL queries will be converted to SQL queries by dialect class for execution. If you change from one database to another database, no need to modify the HQL because dialect class will convert into underlying database query. So if we change application from, if we change app from one DB to another DB, then no need to change any query. No need to change any query because dialect class will take care of the conversion. Because dialect class will take care of query conversion. Dialect class will take care of the query conversion. In SQL, we will use the table names and column names to write the query. SQL queries nothing but SQL queries will directly execute. SQL queries will directly execute in database. If we change app from one DB to another DB, all the queries may not execute. We need to change the queries. Are you guys getting my point? If we change our application from one DB to another DB, then queries may not execute. All queries may not execute because of database change. All queries may not execute. Oracle SQL syntaxes, MySQL SQL syntaxes will be different. Oracle SQL syntaxes and MySQL SQL syntaxes will be different. When Oracle SQL syntax and MySQL SQL syntax is different, Oracle SQL queries may not work in the MySQL database. MySQL SQL queries may not work in the Oracle database. So then what we need to do? It is very difficult for us, right? In our project, assume that there are 1,000 queries are available. So modifying all the 1,000 queries will be very difficult. Modifying all the 1,000 queries will be very difficult. So that's why people will write the HQL query. Whenever we write the HQL query, to convert the HQL query to SQL query, dialect class will be available. Oracle dialect will convert the HQL query to Oracle query, Oracle SQL. MySQL dialect will convert the HQL query to MySQL SQL. So if you change from one database to another database, you no need to modify the queries in the project because our HQL queries are database independent queries. HQL queries will be converted to SQL queries by dialect class for execution. Suppose if you use SQL query, SQL queries will directly execute in the database. SQL queries will be directly executed in the database. But tomorrow, if I change my project from Oracle database to MySQL database, then some queries may work, some queries may not work. That problem will be there in the SQL. So maintenance wise, which is recommended, guys? Maintenance wise, which queries are recommended? Can you guys tell me? HQL queries are recommended, SQL queries are recommended in the project. Maintenance wise, HQL queries are recommended or SQL queries are recommended? HQL queries are recommended. Why HQL queries are recommended? Why HQL queries are recommended? Database independent. Tomorrow, if you change the project from one database to another database also, there is no problem. Tomorrow, when you change the project from one database to another database, there is no problem. Are you guys clear with my point? But performance-wise, HQL queries will give poor performance because of extra conversion. HQL queries will give poor performance. Performance-wise, they are slow. Poor performance because of conversion. Every query should be converted to SQL by dialect class. Whatever the HQL query we are writing, our HQL query cannot be executed directly. That a HQL query should be converted to SQL query. For every query, conversion is required. But what about SQL queries? SQL queries will give better performance because no conversion required, directly will execute, will give better performance than HQL. Better performance than HQL. Okay, if performance is the crucial part for your application, then going for SQL query is recommended. If maintenance is very important for your project, going for HQL queries is important. Are you guys able to understand? So which one is recommended? Depends on the situation. We can't say SQL is better. We can't say HQL is better. It depends on our use case. It depends on our use case. Are you guys? Here when I am writing HQL, HQL queries are database independent. Can we execute HQL queries on the database directly? Whatever the HQL queries we are writing, can we execute those HQL queries on the database directly? No, database don't know HQL. So we need a dialect class to convert the HQL queries to SQL query. As every query requires a conversion, HQL queries will give poor performance. HQL to SQL conversion. HQL cannot be executed in the database. HQL query should be converted to SQL. As there is a conversion, the performance will be slow. But when you go for SQL, directly queries will execute on the database. Performance will be better. All right, guys. Custom queries. We can execute custom queries also in the JPA. That means our own queries. JPA provided methods and find by methods. But I want to write my own query and I want to execute my own query. We can execute custom queries also in the JPA. Custom queries are nothing but our own queries. To execute custom queries, we will use query annotation. Query will support for executing both HQL queries and native SQL queries. So here we need to understand what is HQL and what is native SQL. HQL stands for Hibernate Query Language, Database Independent Queries. In HQL query, if you want to retrieve the data or if you want to do some operation, we will use entity class name and entity class variables to write that query. And HQL queries will be converted to SQL queries by dialect class for execution. Because database don't know about HQL, database know about only SQL. This HQL query should be converted to SQL query. Now, tomorrow, my project is having all HQL queries. I'm changing the project from one database to another database. Oracle to Postgres. You no need to change a single query also because dialect class will be available. Every database will have its own dialect class. That a dialect class will convert the HQL query to database SQL query. As the conversion is required from HQL to SQL, HQL queries will give poor performance. Performance-wise, they are slow because every query should be converted. SQL queries are nothing but native SQL, structured query language. These are database-dependent queries. In SQL, we will use a table name and column names to write the query. In SQL, we will directly execute the query in the database. Conversion not required because every database having their own SQL. But the problem is, if I change my application from one database to another database, some queries may not execute. We need to modify. Maintenance is difficult. These SQL queries will directly execute in the database, so no need of any conversions. That's why we can say performance-wise, these are better. SQL queries will give better performance than HQL queries. Are you guys clear? Are you guys clear with my point? All right. Now, how to execute these custom queries, guys? Either HQL or SQL. Which annotation we need to use? @query annotation we need to use. Now, let me remove all the find by methods. Now, I want to execute my own query. Okay. I want to retrieve all the records from the table. Public list of student get all students. I'm writing my own method. Get all students @query. Now here, I want to go for native SQL query. Okay, name. Here inside the query, we can write value is equal to select a star from student details. This is my table name. Student details, comma. I need to specify it is a SQL query. Native query is equal to true. When I give native query is equal to true, it will understand that I'm writing a plain SQL query. Directly it will execute in the database. Like this we can write native SQL query in our repository interface. Native SQL query means direct SQL query I want to execute. How to tell to JPA that I'm writing a SQL query, I'm using a table name. Query value is equal to select star from student details, native query is equal to true. Okay. Suppose I want to go for HQL. When I go for HQL, public list of student, I'm writing get students. Get students. Now, how to write a HQL query for that? Query I'm going to write from student. Just I'm writing my entity class. So this is the HQL query. This HQL query will be converted to this SQL query by dialect class. By dialect class. I'm using my entity class in the HQL. I'm using my table name in the SQL. So this is a native SQL query and this is a HQL query. Are you guys clear with my point? What is a custom query? Custom query means executing our own queries in the data JPA. Those are called as custom queries. Executing our own queries in the data JPA is called as custom query. To execute that custom query, we are using @query annotation. By using this @query, we can execute HQL queries and we can execute native SQL queries also. Are you guys clear with my point? Now let's execute this. Let's call this student repo dot get all students. It is giving all the students data. Let me print it. Students dot for each system dot out colon println. I'm calling get all students method. So it is having native query. How JPA will understand that I'm having a native query? Native query is equal to true. This query will execute directly. This query will execute directly in the database and will get the data and will print the data on the console. Let's run this. Run as boot application. Run as boot application console. Can you see all the records are retrieving or not? Yep. Are we able to retrieve all the 6 records and printing on the console? So which query executed? As it is a direct query executed. Select star from student details because it is a native query. So conversion required for the native queries or conversion not required for the native queries? Conversion required for the native queries, conversion not required for the native queries. Conversion not required for the native queries. So performance wise better or not? Performance wise better. Native query means it is a normal SQL query. It will execute directly. So we are getting all the records. Directly query is printing. Whatever the query executed, that query printed as it is. It is a SQL query. How JPA understood that I'm executing a native query? Because of this attribute. @query. This query I want to execute. This is a direct query, directly executed. But what about here? If I don't write native query is equal to true in the 16th line, it is a HQL, get students method. Let me call that method. Comment this line and let me go for get students. Just get students. Method names different. Get students. Get students method is having @query from student. From student means from student entity. Student entity belongs to students table. Retrieve all the records. All right, let's execute it. Run as boot application. See the console. Observe the difference. My HQL query executing as it is, or my HQL query is converted to one SQL query. See the query? It is converted to SQL query. And I am able to retrieve. In the both scenarios, I am retrieving the data. But performance wise, which is faster? Guys, performance wise, which is faster? Performance wise, which is faster? SQL is faster. Why SQL is faster performance wise? SQL is faster. Why? Direct execution. No need of conversion. HQL, that should be converted. It will take time. That's why they are slow. They are slow. Who is converting my HQL? Who is converting my HQL query to SQL query? Who is converting my HQL query? Using dialect. MySQL 8 dialect class. So as I have added MySQL connector, it is having the MySQL dialect. So if you add the Oracle connector, Oracle dialect will be available. Every database is having their own dialect class. Those dialect classes are used to convert the HQL queries to SQL query. Okay. For every database, one dialect class will be available. Those dialect classes are going to convert our HQL queries to SQL queries. Are you clear? Are you clear with my point? Are you clear with my point? So do you understand what is the difference between HQL queries and SQL queries? Do you understand how to work with custom queries in the data JPA repository with the custom queries? Repository with the custom queries. Are you able to understand that, guys? Yeah. So now tell me, total, how many ways we can execute queries in the JPA? Total, how many ways we can execute queries in the JPA? By using predefined methods, using JPA predefined methods. JPA provided several predefined methods. Using JPA predefined methods, we can perform the operations. Using find by methods, we can perform the operation. Triplex means that is a method name, variable name. By using find by methods, using custom queries. Okay. How many ways we can perform the operations here? You can use JPA predefined methods. Okay. You can use find by methods. You can use custom queries. Okay. Only for selection. Only for select operation. Now, predefined methods will support select plus non-select. Custom queries also will support for select plus non-select. You got my point? Using JPA predefined methods, we can perform select plus non-select operations also. Non-select means insert and update. Select plus non-select. Now, custom queries also will support for both select plus non-select operations. These find by methods will support only select operations. Will support only select operations. All right. So in total, 3 ways we can communicate with the database by using data JPA. By using JPA predefined methods, you can perform select method, non-select method. For select method, find by ID, find by name, find all. Non-select, delete method is available. For update, you can use the save method only. Now, find by methods. These are used only for select operations. Like you can retrieve the data by using non-primary keys also. Custom queries. You can do select plus non-select also by using custom queries. Okay, guys. Now, I want to give you one assignment for today. I want to give you one assignment for today. So what is my assignment is, I want you people to write HQL queries for this. Whatever I have done here now, all these queries you want to execute by using, I want you people to try that by using HQL. Okay. So these queries I'm giving you, whatever the queries I have given for the find by methods, now those queries you need to implement by using HQL. Those queries you need to implement by using HQL. There are several queries are available. I want you people to write the custom queries by using HQL. This is the task for you people. Can you guys do that? Can you guys do that? Come on, guys. I'm giving you 6 queries. Okay. Here I want you to retrieve select only name, gender, select name, select rank and gender. That's it. Select student underscore rank comma student underscore gender from student underscore details table. Okay. So this is one query. I'm giving you SQL query. This SQL query, you need to convert into HQL query and you need to execute them by using JPA. That is the task for you. Before coming to tomorrow's session, I want you people to implement this logic by using HQL. Can you do that? Can you try that? If you are not able to do, I will explain, but I want you to do this as an assignment. Using HQL only. Using HQL only. Come on, guys. Can you guys try this? People are not responding. Try. If you are not able to do, you will learn it tomorrow. No problem. I will explain tomorrow. But aapko try karna pehle. Because you have to do it and you have to learn, man. Because you are not a school kid to spoon feed everything. You are not a school kid to spoon feed everything. You need to learn things on your own. You need to learn the things on your own. You need to improve that self-learning skill, and you need to change your thought process. Everything, we have paid 7,000 rupees. He has to teach everything. I will teach everything. But tomorrow when you go for company, who will teach you everything? Nobody, right? You need to learn those things. Sir, we have paid 7,000 now. We have paid 7,000 now. You need to teach each and everything. I will teach, no problem. I will do it. But your learning scope will not improve. Your thought process will not improve. Your maturity levels will not improve. You will not get the confidence. When you do the things on your own, that will give you a lot of confidence. You will feel very happy if you are able to implement the task on your own. That confidence matters a lot to survive in the IT. Okay? I want you to become a good and independent developer. So I want you to complete this assignment before coming to tomorrow class. In the tomorrow class, I will explain how to convert these SQL queries to HQL queries and how to execute them. Is that fine for everyone? Is this clear for everyone? Very good. I'm going to upload this class notes, guys. Today's session is a damn important session, and it is very, very, very important session and interesting session also. Good. So please practice whatever we have discussed in the class today. That is very, very, very important to develop our applications in the future. Data JPA, how to work with the predefined methods in the JPA, how to write custom queries in the JPA, and how to work with find by methods in the JPA. What is the syntax we need to follow to write the find by methods? These things are very, very, very important. Please take it seriously and practice. Let me confirm the notes is uploaded or not. Yes, assignment is also uploaded to the website portal. Okay, please try this. Thank you, guys. So thanks for your time. And with this, I'm stopping for today. We'll meet again in the tomorrow's class. Thank you. Good night.